What's going on, y'all? So I wanted to talk about something that I think made a hell of a difference along my life journey, but also obviously fitness and my mental health journey as well. And what that is the idea of watching my thoughts. Okay. Now, the premise of this is basically that so many people can live in the same state, the same area, experience like virtually life exactly the same. But the way that we think about it, right? The way that we perceive it, the way that we go out there and take that information and continue to create the narrative around our life is drastically different, right? And so for me, right, full transparency, a lot of my life, I've looked at things in terms of like feeling like things could be better, right? Like I'm lacking, like things could be on a better trajectory. Life isn't 100% the way it's supposed to have gone, right? This, that, and the other. And what I've learned from that is that put me a lot of times into a space where, truthfully, I just didn't feel all that happy, right? Even though my life, if I'm being completely honest with all of you guys, is pretty damn good, right? I grew up in a really, really good household. I grew up in a pretty decent area. I always had what I needed. There was never an issue of struggling about food on the plate or a roof over my head, right? But still, even within all of that, right, I still found flaws in my life. I still found things that could be better, right? And so from that standpoint, the thing that I've learned on my life journey, on my personal development journey over these last handful of years has been to check the way that I look at things, check the way that I talk about my life, check the way that I talk about life situations, right? And so, for example, right now, right, today's present time, I'm on a cut to try to lose more weight, right? So I could look at this in a lot of ways and be able to say, like, this shouldn't be so hard, right? This is really, really demanding. I have to do so many more things to be able to lose this last little bit of weight, right? The remaining 5 to 10 pounds of fat that I want to be able to lose, that it shouldn't be this hard, right? It should be easier. I should be able to do this, that, and the other without all these things that come along with it, and all these trials and tribulations, and the days that I struggle, the days that I feel extra hungry, all that stuff, right? But I think sometimes, right, again, if we check that, right, and we actually go, does this make sense? Is this actually something that I agree with, right? That it shouldn't be that hard? 9 times out of 10, that's just a complaint in your head that you don't actually believe, right? Because do I actually believe that me being able to lose weight or accomplish anything for that matter, right? Be a better father, be a better husband, be able to have new career goals, right? Accomplish milestones that I hit in life, right? Etc. Should they be easy? And the reality is they shouldn't, right? And I think we can all agree to that. We all like the idea of them being easy, right? Because easy's nice, right? I didn't have to work that hard for it. I get what I want immediately. I don't have to go out there and try, right? Like I can just get what I want immediately. I get that instant gratification. But at the same time, if life was that simple and I could just go outside and say, hey, I want to achieve X goal, and then I could just go and swipe a card and okay, I accomplished it. Awesome, that's great, I got it, right? Life would become very meaningless very quickly, right? Because the reason why, I'm going to use fitness as an example. People like to look at someone who has the 6-pack, right? Or has the bicep veins. For women, maybe have the glutes, maybe have the hamstrings, have the nice tight stomach, the little toneness to the arms, right? The reason why we look at that and go, dang, like that's something that I want, right? Is not because we just love the way that looks and we hate the way that everything else looks, right? That's an aspect of it. But the reason why it's such a longed for thing, people are willing to put in so much work for it, they're willing to go out there and try so many different ways to be able to get that goal accomplished, is because we know that the people that have it, we signify a lot of characteristics with that individual, right? We say that they're a go-getter, right? They're dedicated, they're disciplined, they're willing to sacrifice for it, right? They're willing to go out there and do the things that other people aren't willing to do, right? So if you took away those aspects, you no longer had to be disciplined, you didn't have to be dedicated, you didn't have to sacrifice, you didn't do the things that other people weren't willing to do, right? Would it really become meaningful anymore, right? Or would it just become something that was like, yeah, I mean, mommy and daddy allowed you to have extra money, right? You had the extra funds. You were able to go to a doctor, right? And be able to have them prescribe you something, whatever. And that's how you got the results, right? It would lose a lot of its meaning. So when we are looking at life, right, we have to check the way that we view it and really align with, does that make sense with what I actually want out of this, right? I had a client recently send me something, and not to call out this client, I think it was just a joke for the most part, right? But it was something about, like, hitting your 10,000 steps, being able to go to the gym, tracking your macros, etc., right? And me trying to maintain my mental health, right? And it was like this game of kind of like almost like hopscotch, right? Like you're going into the mental health crisis, and then you're coming back and you're okay, and then you're back into the mental health crisis, and and I was telling him, like, I totally agree, right? Because a lot of times this is taxing. It does play with us mentally, right? But at the same time, that's kind of why you signed up for the journey in the first place, right? It would almost be like, for example, you buy tickets for a basketball game, right? Let's say, and you show up, and then you just want the game to be like super like done in the first quarter, right? Like, just, it was very, very like, blowout situation, right? There was no hanging on the edge of your seat. There was no doubt about whether you were going to win or not, right? It was just like, boom, right out the gates, they were up 20 points, and then you just kind of coasted into the end of the game, right? The finish line, and you won the game, right? On some hand, right, I can see the understanding of that as a fan of, like, man, I would love that, because then I know that I'm going to win. I don't have to, oh, are we going to do it? But at the same time, right, that same basketball game analogy, right, or football or hockey or anything else, right, when it comes down to those last few seconds and the game is in jeopardy, and is this guy going to be able to overcome, right, and be able to reach that goal and get this done? Oh, I'm so anxious. I don't know, right? That's half the reason, if not more, that we show up to the damn game in the first place. Why we want to be in the arena, why we want to be there at the arena or the field or the stadium, whatever, with everybody else to watch, is because, are they going to be able to do it, right? It's hanging in the balance, right? And I think, again, that's part of what the journey of life is, right? Whether you're talking about fitness and not knowing whether or not you're going to lose those last couple of pounds, right? Whether it's, life as a whole, and like, am I going to be a good parent, right? Am I going to be able to, afford the mortgage all the time, right? Am I going to be able to go on those vacations that I want and be able to hit those bucket list moments, right? And then being able to, over time, prove to yourself that you can do it, right? And get closer and closer and closer to that championship level, or that, financial freedom, that fitness goal that you want, that you thought maybe you would never reach, right? And you start to get closer and closer and closer until you achieve it, right? But again, achieving it, right, is part of the journey, but it's not the whole journey, right? The reason why that accomplishment, that milestone, that championship, whatever you want to relate it to, is valuable. The reason why people work hard towards it, the reason why people get there and they're so excited, right? And they love it. Yes, I did it, right? Anything's possible kind of idea, is because of the fact that it wasn't a foregone conclusion. You might have had belief, right? That's why you started it, but it wasn't something that was like, yes, no matter what, I have no doubt in my mind this is going to happen. There's always that little bit of doubt. And if you think that not having the doubt, not having the adversity, not having to go through something to be able to accomplish the goal, it being super easy is really what you want, then I think, just to be honest, checking your mindset, right, the way that you perceive and view your life, I think you're lying to yourself, because then it wouldn't be valuable, it wouldn't be worth it. So again, the next time that you're in this space, right, where you're like, man, I think things should be easier. This shouldn't be that hard. I shouldn't have to do this, that, and the other. Understand that this is exactly why you signed up for the journey. This is exactly why we go to movies, to watch the main character have to go through adversity. This is exactly why we watch sports, to see your team overcome adversity and fail year after year after year and get better and get up to that, championship level, right? Stanley Cup level, Super Bowl level caliber team. This is the exact reason why you signed up for this. This is why you want the end goal, is because it is difficult, because you are going to have to battle through it, because it's not a foregone conclusion, and because you have to sacrifice, you have to dedicate, you got to be willing to do the things that other people wouldn't be willing to do. And that's exactly why you want it. That's exactly why it's going to be so sweet when you achieve it. And that's exactly why other people are going to give you praise for getting it done. So don't give up because the going gets hard. Understand and smile and say, this is what I signed up for. These are the freaking moments that I'm going to remember. Those late nights going to the gym, that all-nighter that you spent studying to be able to get an A on that paper, or that quiz, that midterm final, whatever, right? That project that you have for work that you've been working on for 6, 7, 8 months, and it's coming down to the very end and you got to be able to meet this deadline. That's what you signed up for. That's why it's so amazing to be able to get to the other side and go, yeah, I did it. I reached it. I accomplished it. And that's exactly why you are going to be someone that other people look at and go, damn, I wish I could be like so-and-so. Man, I can't wait until I accomplish what you've accomplished. Man, you inspire me to be able to go do X, Y, and Z. The reason why is because they know that you had to go through some shit. They know you had to sacrifice when you didn't want to. They know that you went out there and did something that other people weren't willing to do. So don't give up when the going gets tough. Make sure you double down, you smile on the face of adversity and go, oh yeah, this is me writing my story to say why I am one of the greatest of all time. I hope that this was helpful. Go out there and accomplish something today. And remember, turn one day into a lifestyle.